What makes this messy is Jay-Z actually signed Nicki back in 2009, but long term she ended up becoming the bigger artist, moving around 130 million records compared to his 90 million, so that power dynamic completely flipped.
Bruh, I'ma say it straight. I don't trust truth tellers who only start telling the truth when it benefits them.
Exactly.
Like Nicki going at Jay-Z is one thing. Cool, say what you gotta say. But the moment she turned it into Democrat versus Republican,
hey, bro, come on now, dog. Come on, man.
I said, yeah, okay, there it is. Same playbook, different rapper. Because you can't sit at the same table, eat the same food, take the same industry money, do the same award show theatrics, and then pop up like, I'm exposing the devils now. Nah, that's not a cleanse. That's a pivot. And that's what y'all missing. This ain't Nicki saving anybody. This is an industry chess move wrapped in politics, wrapped in outrage, wrapped in a viral moment. And regular people are the target, like always. So let's break it down. What she said, why she said it now, what's real, what's noise, and why this whole thing screams one word: leverage. Bruh, here's what just happened. Nicki Minaj went straight at Jay-Z and the internet reacted like somebody pulled a fire alarm in a crowded club. Not a normal celebrity trending moment either. This was that special kind of viral where people stop asking questions and start picking sides in 10 seconds. And at first you might think, okay, cool. Another artist speaking up, another public crash out, another day online. But then she made it political. Democrat, Republican, blue, red, church, morals, you a fool if you vote this way type energy.
Oh, Lord. Again. Again. Nothing new, nothing changed, same old shit.
That's when I said, nah, this ain't just a rant. Because the second you attach truth to a political team, it stops being about what happened. It becomes about who you want to win. And now the comments turn into a battlefield instead of a conversation. So I'm not doing fan wars today. I'm breaking down what this means: incentives, power, psychology, why this blew up the way it did, and why regular people always end up being the target. Here's my first smell test. If this was really about truth and protecting people, why does it always show up in the loudest possible way at the most viral possible time? Like, think about it. Real truth usually comes with structure, names, dates, receipts you can check, a clear statement that can stand up when the lights come on. But internet truth, it comes as vibes, true or false, a repost, a screenshot, a little implication. Then everybody runs with it like it's a court verdict. That's not how you build justice. That's how you build a frenzy. And a frenzy is useful because once people are emotional, they stop being careful. And that's why I'm looking at Nicki like,
Hold up. Wait a minute.
okay, is this courage or is this leverage? Because leverage doesn't need to prove anything beyond doubt. Leverage just needs to apply pressure. Leverage just needs the target to feel uncomfortable. Leverage just needs the internet to do the pushing for you. That's why the format matters as much as the claim. Now let's talk timing, because timing is the part people act like don't matter. But timing is everything. The internet has been heated again off that Epstein document wave. You got articles, threads, screenshots, people saying this name is in it, other people saying, nah, it's not. Everybody hungry for a villain to focus on. And whenever that happens, the internet does the same ritual. They pick one face that can hold all the anger. They pick a symbol, somebody that represents power. Jay-Z is perfect for that role because to a lot of people, he's not even a man. He's a concept, gatekeeper, untouchable, industry royalty. So if you want maximum outrage, you attach the outrage to him.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
I'm not saying Nicki coordinated anything. I'm saying she knows the weather. She dropped this when the air was already full of gasoline. That's why it spread like it did. That's why people didn't even ask what's confirmed. They just said, finally. Timing didn't just help the story. Timing was the story. And this is where the new Nicki phase matters. She's been stepping into politics, doing interviews, talking about religion, talking about smear campaigns, talking like she got a second call in. Whether you agree with her or not, that's a big shift. Because when you move like that, you're not only talking to fans anymore, you're talking to narratives. And narratives are what machines live off. Media machines, political machines, industry machines. They love celebrities because celebrities can move people without needing proof. That's why when she turns it into Democrat versus Republican, I immediately see the trap. Because now half the internet will defend her no matter what she says, and the other half will hate her no matter what she says. That ain't truth. That's tribalism. That's pick a side energy. And the elites love pick a side because it keeps regular people busy fighting each other instead of asking who's really benefiting. So now the real question becomes, is Nicki speaking freely or is she speaking with protection?
Shit, I don't even know. Like, I can't even tell you that. Like,
because people get real bold when they feel like they got new alliances, new friendships, new cover. You can't expose the devil while siding with the devil. Now, let's be honest about what Nicki is actually doing here. She's not walking into court and laying out a case. She's signaling, true or false, retweeting claims, posting images, dropping insinuations. That's not proof. That's a flare gun. And a flare gun don't need to hit the target. It just needs to light up the sky so everybody looks in the direction you want them looking. This is why people keep saying receipts, but the receipts be vibes, a timeline, a rumor that's been floating for years, a photo that makes people feel a certain way. And then the internet does the rest like a mob with a megaphone. And to be clear, signaling is powerful. Sometimes signaling is more dangerous than proving, because proving invites debate, but signaling invites belief. It turns the whole thing into, well, if Nicki said it, it must be true. Or if Nicki hates him, he must deserve it. That's how culture warfare works. And that's why I'm watching this like, okay, you not just exposing somebody, you moving a crowd. You steering emotion, and emotion is the easiest currency to spend online. Here's where she loses me. You can't act like you're cleaning up the industry while you're still part of the industry. Like, I'm sorry, the music industry ain't a daycare. It's a machine. If you've been inside that machine for decades, you've benefited from it. You've played the game. You've done the rollouts, the visuals, the branding, the whole thing.
I mean, it's all right. Like, overrated as in my opinion. I mean, and you know what though? That's typically how the bullshit goes. You feel me?
You can't just pop up one day like, I just realized this place is evil. Nah, you knew, or you at least knew enough to not be shocked. And that's why when she frames herself like this righteous whistleblower, people side-eye it. Not because she can't speak, but because where was this energy when it cost you something? It's always easier to talk when you feel protected. It's always easier to tell the truth when you got a new team, a new audience, a new set of allies who'll clap for you no matter what. That's the part folks don't want to admit. Sometimes the truth ain't coming out because you're brave. It's coming out because you're repositioning. And that's why I keep saying, if she's still eating at the same table, don't sell me a sermon, sell me clarity. And then boom, politics. The minute Nicki turns it into left versus right, she just did the machine's favorite move for it. Because now the conversation ain't what's true. The conversation becomes my side good, your side evil. And once that happens, people stop thinking and start defending. Like, bruh, you could literally tell somebody the sky is blue, and if it comes from the wrong political team, they'll argue it's purple out of spite. That's why I don't get emotionally recruited by celebrity politics, because celebrities are not the leaders. They're the billboards. They're the voices that make the message feel cool. And the elites love it because while you beefing in the comments, nobody's asking who profits. Nobody's asking who's protected. Nobody's asking why the same people always land on their feet. And this is the core lesson. Blue and red are marketing. Left and right are branding. The people running the money, they not arguing on Twitter. They laughing. So when Nicki makes it political, all she did was tell me she's playing the same game, just in a different jersey. Now let's talk about the messenger problem. Because even if you believe every single thing Nicki is implying, people still gonna ask, why you? Like, you can't condemn the award show theatrics and then have your own history of doing theatrics.
Stupid.
You can't shame imagery you participated in and then pretend you were never part of that world.
Stupid.
And I'm not even saying imagery equals real life evil. I'm saying if you're building a moral argument, your own public record matters. People are going to pull up your past and say, so what changed now? And this is where it gets sticky, because the internet doesn't do nuance. The internet does gotchas. They don't care about growth or context. They care about contradiction. So when she comes out swinging like a moral authority, the internet immediately swings back like,
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
okay, but what about your circle? What about your choices? What about what you defended? And that's why I said earlier, you can't expose the devil while siding with the devil. Even if she's trying to do something good, she's carrying too much baggage to be the clean messenger, which makes the whole thing feel less like whistleblower and more like weapon. And weapons don't need purity. They just need impact. This is where the whole thing clicks for me, because when you strip the emotion away, this doesn't feel like a moral crusade. It feels like leverage. In the industry, the truth isn't always used to heal. A lot of times it's used to negotiate. People don't leak when they're winning. They leak when they're being squeezed. And Nicki's own framing hints at that type of pressure. Sabotage, project stalled, contracts, Rico talk. I might do story times. That's not just venting. That's pressure language. It's the equivalent of somebody saying, all right, keep playing with me, and I'm about to start naming names. That's not the energy of, I'm doing this for the victims. That's the energy of, stop touching my money. And I'm not saying she's lying about being sabotaged. I'm saying the moment it turns into a power fight, people start using whatever weapons they got. Fame, fans, politics, allegations, old photos, old rumors, anything that can apply heat. That's why I keep saying this is cultural warfare, not court. The goal isn't a conviction. The goal is discomfort. The goal is headlines. The goal is, you gonna leave me alone now? And when you understand that, the whole story changes. It's not Nicki exposed the truth. It's Nicki pulled a lever. And the internet is the machine that makes that lever work. Because the wildest part is, she don't even have to prove anything. She just has to hint hard enough that millions of people do the accusing for her. And now we got to talk about why Jay-Z is the perfect target in a moment like this, whether he did anything or not. To a lot of people, Jay-Z represents the top of the pyramid, gatekeeping, industry politics, untouchable power, the guy who always seems to be standing next to the biggest rooms and the biggest decisions. So when the internet is already heated, they don't want a complicated villain. They want a clean villain, somebody whose name alone feels like a verdict. And because Jay-Z is private and doesn't do the messy public back and forth like that, it makes him even easier to project onto. Silence becomes proof in people's minds. Not fair, but that's how mobs think. Add that to the fact that whenever Epstein-related conversations trend, people start hunting for powerful names to attach to the story. They want the biggest celebrity trophy. They want a headline that feels like justice. So when Nicki lights them up in the middle of that climate, it's automatic ignition. She didn't just choose a person, she chose a symbol. And symbols are dangerous, because once somebody becomes a symbol, nobody cares about nuance. Nobody cares what's confirmed. They just care that the symbol falls. Which brings us back to the whole point. This isn't a courtroom. This is the internet doing what it does best, turning complex power into simple villains, then calling it truth. So yeah, after all this, I'm not walking away thinking Nicki exposed Jay-Z. I'm walking away thinking we just watched leverage dressed up like truth. And that's not even me saying she's lying. Two things can be true at the same time. She can believe what she's saying and still be using the moment. She can feel wronged and still be moving like a pawn on the board she didn't build. Because the second she made it Democrat versus Republican, it told me everything I needed to know. That's the oldest trick. Turn the crowd into teams, get everybody emotional, then watch regular people fight each other while the real power stays untouched.
To this day! To this day!
Blue, red, left, right, that stuff is branding. The people running the money are not in your comment section. And that's why I keep saying, you can't expose the devil while siding with the devil. You can't act like you're breaking the spell while you're still selling the spell. If you really want to wake people up, you don't recruit people into a new tribe, you give them clarity. And this whole thing felt like noise, wrapped in morality, wrapped in politics, wrapped in a viral moment. Here's my one question for you. What would it take for you to believe a celebrity is telling the truth for real? Consistent receipts, even when it costs them, or just a viral moment that lines up perfectly with their new alliances? Drop your honest answer in the comments. I'm reading everything. And look, the video that just popped on your screen talks about the bigger pattern behind this, how outrage cycles get manufactured, how receipts get weaponized, and how the crowd gets played while the real machine stays protected. You should watch that one next, and I'll see you on the next one. Panda out.